Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we review The Strangers Pray at Night. Let us pray.
Directed by Johannes Roberts, who also directed 47 Meters Down, and a movie we must watch, Forest of the Damned, starring Christina Hendricks, Martin Henderson, Bailey Madison, and Lewis Pullman, and also our fearsome killers, Damian Maffei, Emma Bellamy, and Leah Enslin. This movie's about a family that's bringing their daughter to a boarding school. Along the way, they want to stop at their aunt and uncle's trailer park, and unfortunately, they're stalked by doll-faced and bag-faced killers. So what do we like? Firstly, it's important to note that this has a way different pace than the original, so if you're expecting the original, you're gonna have a problem because this is more of like a very fast-paced cat and mouse game, and very quickly our family is being stalked and hunted by the strangers that we know from the first film.
Being that this film did create a more open concept, it allowed for different opportunities for the three of them to stalk their prey. We didn't know exactly when they were coming out, and that I think is interesting. Yes, they had their long shots where they would be creeping in the background, but at the same time, you don't know if they're in a different trailer, if they're in a car, or if they're just hiding in the playground. So I think that idea was very well executed with you don't know where they actually are, and because it's so open, it gives you the same uneasy feeling that you would have if it was a home invasion.
And to help with that and to build the tension, they utilize the cinematography really, really well. Usually a shot would start really wide and then it would just like slow dolly into somebody's face, and now you're just looking at their reaction, trying to figure out where is this person, because now you don't know either. And these kind of camera tricks like really help the audience trying to get into the mind of where the hell are these people and when are they gonna strike. The whole movie kind of had this old retro vibe. The music was excellent because, you know, it's creepy if there's somebody in a mask in an old truck stalking people while listening to some like really poppy 80s tune, or even seeing like a poolside with all these wacky lit up palm trees. I mean, you just have this interesting feeling. Like, I just think that the tone of this movie almost seems satirical, but it wasn't. Like, there's nothing to suggest that this is a funny movie, but it is fun in nature.
It's also hard for me to take it serious when the first song is Kids in America, which was like the main song in the Digimon movie.
Take a journey so extreme, it can only be experienced on the big screen.
Digivolving too fast!
Hurry, we're running out of time!
And of course, our three killers were menacing throughout the film. They just have this intimidating factor to them just by how they look. I like that they don't talk. Yes, one or two of them will say a word here or there, but the silence is what makes it tense, and not having them talk just gives a different direction of emotions that come across with each character.
I also liked our main female character, Kinsey, who's played by Bailey Madison. She's kind of like a Hot Topic emo girl, but she did a good job playing that stereotype. She's kind of like a fuck the world kind of attitude. She's like supposed to be like a bad girl, but she's also really sad at the same time. But the main reasons that I liked her was because she was able to take on the strangers. She was running a lot. She was making much smarter decisions than her brother. And she was probably the most realistic character of the lot. Now, what didn't we like?
I wasn't a fan of the story. I just felt it was too generic. It's a strangers movie, so you're going in expecting some kind of invasion or a cat and mouse style. In the first one, there was depth. In this one, a family went to a trailer, 3 people were there. But I didn't really like the overall story arc. When they're put in a situation, they get out of it, and then they're put back in a similar situation and they get out of it.
You basically have a group of people, they pair off, they face one killer over here, they get away. They run somewhere else. Then you have the other pair get away from a killer here. They run somewhere else. And then it kind of just keeps happening over and over again. And I do like the way that they did it. But yes, there's not a lot of depth to it. Especially because they are in a trailer park and all the trailers look the damn same. You see them run by the same places over and over again. When they're inside trailers, they all look the same. And it just becomes a little monotonous for sure. I didn't like the family, with the exception of Kinsey. The mom and dad seem like they plotted this whole thing. Like, totally, me and John thought like, oh yeah, they hired these guys to kill their kids or something, or to scare them straight. Because it seemed like the parents didn't really care. They just seemed off. And then you have the brother who just makes all of the worst decisions. Like, there are opportunities where he can straight up kill the killer and he just doesn't. He had a ton of opportunities, and it seemed like almost in an insulting way. Like, here, I'm gonna stop being a hero so that Kinsey can be the hero this time.
And it gets pretty annoying when you're an audience member because you're watching these situations go down and you're just yelling at the TV being like, they have attacked you on numerous occasions. You have all the right to defend yourself right now, not just you go away and I'm gonna run in the other direction and hope you don't kill me. That's not the case. And it's frustrating.
And sometimes that can be good. Like when you're watching something like Scream or you're watching like other movies and, oh, what are you doing running upstairs? Like, you know that they're kind of playing with that idea. In this one, it's not that evident that they are purposely fucking up. It's just more aggravating. And you can also tell that they forget certain cues because there's a time where there's no keys for a truck, and instead of showing this person acquire said keys, they just have the sound effect play, and then everything is good. Oh, here's a sound effect of jingling keys. That means she's got them. There's a lot of little things that kind of screw with this movie. And I don't know if like a lot was cut or not, but it seemed a little half-assed. And that's kind of like from a story standpoint, because like I really like the cinematography. That wasn't half-assed. Like this is a great looking movie, but it just seems like they didn't care about much else.
I did enjoy that there were more kills in this film, but at the same time, I felt like our three stalkers weren't actually stalkers, but were more killers. It's like their motives were completely changed. And that's kind of disappointing because you like the idea of the slow burn. You like the torture scenes, the ones where they're almost pitting family members against each other to try and escape. And in this one, it just didn't feel like that, and it's disappointing.
Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. Prey at Night, while different from the original, still had good elements. I did enjoy the cat and mouse game. The strangers are still menacing, and the movie was fast-paced with some excellent cinematography. Unfortunately, it looks like our strangers changed their motives completely, so if you expect anything like the first one, then you're probably gonna be let down with this one, which makes me question why they would make such a drastic change when it comes to a sequel. Our family isn't that likable, but my biggest issue might be the fact that with it being a cat and mouse game, it just seems like they're repeating actions over and over again, and so it does become boring and it does become monotonous and everything kind of just blends together, and it's certainly not a movie that I'd ever watch again. If you are a fan of The Strangers, maybe check it out. I can't see everybody loving this one, so I'm gonna give this 2.5 slush puppies out of 5.
I was really excited for this film because I love The Strangers, and the first one I loved it because of how it was shot and how the story was told. In this one, it's like it's a completely different movie. The whole film, while still beautifully shot and presents itself with a cat and mouse game, it does it in a different style. And the style itself isn't bad, it's just not what you would expect. I'm really disappointed in the direction that our three stalkers went. I wanted more from them in a slower paced environment. The film's story is its real downfall. It's hard to get invested in it when it feels like you're watching the same scene over and over again. The characters themselves are not that likable other than our main lead. She has some depth to her, but other than that, you could probably watch this film in 10 minutes and you wouldn't miss a beat because it just keeps repeating itself. If you're a fan of the first Strangers, I would go in with caution. If you've never seen The First Strangers, then this is probably a good movie to watch because it can be fun and entertaining, and it is beautifully shot. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 2.5 calling cards out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, there are links in the description where you can find it. If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel, stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.